I was completely covered in blood and I was just screaming F-U-C-K.
It was the early hours of February 9, 2016. A flash grenade had just exploded in the bedroom Felicia shared with her then fiancé Dean, a drug kingpin.
Initially, I thought it was a home invasion and I thought I'd been shot in the face. It wasn't a home invasion, it was the cops.
Police were conducting a drug raid, months in the making.
I started to crawl towards the walk-in rope to try and get shelter from the grenades that were coming in the bay window. And then a cop stepped through and he was holding an assault rifle to my head and he was yelling at me to put my hands over my head. But by this point, I really couldn't because my hand was mincemeat, my elbow was hanging out, so I was kind of dragging the arms up so he wouldn't shoot me.
Is it usual for grenades to be used in a home raid?
Definitely not. The last time it was used prior to the raid at my house was during the Lint siege on Manmonis. So it's a bit ridiculous.
What was the extent of your injuries?
I had third-degree burns. I had a shattered wrist. My wrist was dislocated. I had, my fingers were basically hanging off. They were severed.
Felicia grew up in a rough Sydney neighbourhood surrounded by violence and poverty.
I had a pretty good childhood. I had a loving home, loving parents. The thing that was traumatic for me was my father's addiction. You grow up with a lot of detrimental ideas about self-worth, and you tell yourself as a child, if I'm not worth more than a bottle of vodka, am I worth anything at all?
As she grew older, Felicia realised she could make money from her looks. She modelled and entered beauty pageants and went on to become a 3-time Miss Australia winner.
I loved it. I thought it was great. It was fun. Got to get my hair and makeup done, got to dress up, got to go overseas, got to meet girls from all different countries.
But Felicia had a knack for attracting men on the wrong side of the law. She became immersed in the underground world, seduced by the spoils of the luxury lifestyle.
King's Cross back in the day was amazing. We used to party a lot. We had a lot of fun. It was just so colourful. It was so rich with different personalities. You know, you could be a bit wild and get away with it. It was a good time until it wasn't, because I didn't expect my life to shift and change as quickly as what it did.
What were those shifts?
A much higher level of power, more money, and also to more police scrutiny. So getting your house raided, getting a car pulled over and ripped apart, having a prohibitions order on your home so the police can come into your home at any time and just go through all your things.
Were there elements that you admired about that club culture?
Yes, there's loyalty and a brotherhood and a sense of family, and I think that sense of family is what is appealing to anyone who's from a broken home, especially all of the lost boys that gravitate towards bikie gangs.
Talk to me about the wags of the underworld.
So the term old lady, look, I don't love it, but the term old lady is like the girlfriend of a bikie. The role of the old lady is to make sure that you're loyal, you maintain any secrecy or secrets, you don't speak to the police, you keep a good home, you look after your children, and to do all of the things that any regular partner would do. It's just that there's an element of risk there, and there's a little bit more of an element of danger as well.
Let's talk about that danger. What happens if you've got a wandering eye, if you're an old lady?
You'll have your head shaved, so everyone will know that you're a cheater.
What happens to a man?
There's usually no consequences.
Gang life can be violent for women, as Felicia discovered during a relationship with a man called Cam that almost killed her.
The higher up that he was in the club, the more violence he was bringing into the home. The scariest moment was right before I lost consciousness when I was strangled and I ended up in the hospital. And it scared the hell out of me. I thought there's only a matter of time until I'm going to be dead. So I was helped by my mother to put a plan in place, and I had a safe place to go where I knew I would not be found.
A short time later, Felicia fell for Dean, the main target of the police raid 9 years ago. Dean was sentenced to 8 years jail for drug trafficking, and Felicia a 3-year suspended sentence for drug supply.
I think I was afforded my freedom because of the way I present, because of the colour of my skin, and because of the way I speak. The fact that I hold privilege is why I didn't go to jail, as well as the fact that I was injured.
Do you consider yourself guilty of any crime?
I do. And I told the police that. I said I knew what was going on and I didn't report it, but in no way, shape or form am I a drug dealer.
I feel that people will be watching this chat and there's a very obvious surface level assumption from them, which will be, you don't look like someone that would be involved with bikies.
No. But I think it's a good thing because it challenges the stereotype of what a woman looks like with a conviction history.
When the law caught up with her, Felicia knew she needed to turn her life around, and she has. She's now a trauma therapist, advocate for women's justice, and has just released her memoir.
What society needs to know about people who have conviction histories is that it shouldn't be a life sentence. They should have second chances. They should be offered meaningful employment. And they want to contribute back to society and it saves them from going back inside. So I'm hoping that by me speaking about these things, I'm at least planting a seed for people in the community that have the opportunity to open doors for women who would usually have doors slammed in their faces because of their criminal history.
What an extraordinary woman. Felicia's memoir, Accessory, is out now. And if this story has raised any issues for you, you can contact 1800-RESPECT on 1-800-737-732 or Lifeline on 13 11 14.